Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fore Dads Podcast. I apologize with last week not having a podcast or even a video. The plan was to I went up to the Bay Area for work, and I met Julio at a golf simulator, and the goal was to get a video of us, playing some simulation golf and having a good time and, trying to go low. And my GoPro overheated within the first 10 minutes. So it was kind of bittersweet that you didn't see it because my chipping game was apparently atrocious according to the golf simulator. It was horrible. Julio chipped hole out, which I'm sure if you see on our Instagram page, I posted Julio's hole out. Probably the only good thing that happened that day. And while I was watching back some of the clips, I noticed that I was hitting for Julio shots for some of the time, and Julio was hitting for mine on accident. We had no idea. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't checked us out on Twitter or Instagram, definitely want to check that out at Fore Dads Pod. Also, we are posting all these on Instagram. I can't even speak tonight. I'm just exhausted. On YouTube, as well as Spotify, depending on where you're watching it. We have a lot of spots for this podcast. But thank you guys for joining us. But yeah, like I mentioned, we had a blast at the at the golf simulator, and might as well start with that because I honestly totally forgot. It seemed like it was so long ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say anybody who's over in the Danville area, definitely go check out Lab Golf. Huge setup, pretty neat setup actually. I know in some of our previous calls we've talked about the importance of fitting. This is a pretty cool spot. They had some pretty high def cameras when it comes to those that are super particular about putting strokes, what type of putter style is going to fit you best. They have high speed cameras. They have everything from balancing tables to even live loft adjustments. So if you already have clubs that you love and that you're like, this is what I'm playing, they can go over there and fit everything and fix it up for you. Great setup. Great community of guys. There's two guys, Nick and Max, really nice guys, very welcoming. So I suggest anybody who's down in the Danville area, go check them out. Pretty cool. Oh, and they also have a league every Wednesday. They have a virtual golf skins game. So go check it out.
That's why it was packed, dude. Yeah, I was like, why are there so many dang people here?
Yeah, everyone was playing a skins game.
No way. Okay. Yeah, and it was the first time since probably 8th grade that I broke 100. I've never played so bad in my life, and I really attribute that to my chipping that I don't know if it wasn't getting picked up correctly or what, dude, but I literally, you would chip it on the green, it's an automatic one putt depending on how far away you are, but I just could not get it on the green to save my life. And I think in the beginning, I thought that it was all where the ball ended up on the screen instead of where the TrackMan was picking it up. And that was my biggest issue because I was like, oh, I don't want it to drop below the screen, even if it's a short chip, because it's not going to pick it up. But I'm not thinking, for whatever reason, because I'm in a new city and there's a freaking TrackMan behind me that picks it up. So I didn't have to worry like that. I just over the green 30 yards. It was terrible. It was horrible.
And I think the other thing was trying to figure out where the ball was going. I hit some shots. They felt like they were right, and all of a sudden it was a perfect draw. And then the ones that I felt that I nuked that were perfect ended up being a big old cut. I was like, what's going on? I think that was also.
Well, yeah, you would hit it down the middle, dude. It would look amazing, and then it would just go, and it would literally just take off, and you're like, okay, was there a massive gust of wind, or it made no sense on some of these shots? But
I couldn't agree with you more. There was definitely some confusing pieces that I was just like, okay, TrackMan is too accurate. It is too good. I'm not upset with it. It's just but it definitely humbles you as a player. You're like, God, I suck.
Oh man, I almost handed in my golf clubs that night, dude. I was like, I am done, dude. Get me out of here. I'm never doing simulation golf in my life anymore. If I get one, I'm gonna have to have natural grass.
Yeah, guys. Also, I want to add too. What do you guys prefer to hit off of? Do you prefer to hit off of grass or do you prefer to hit off of mats? If so, why? We're gonna leave a clip of this on Instagram. Please share your opinions. Like, I'm really curious about it, because John and I had a long conversation about it, kind of leading into it, talking about, hey, what do you prefer to hit off? I have never really struggled off of mats, but the downside of me warming up on a mat, I feel like I pick the ball too clean to where I end up sculling things, or catching things thin when I'm actually on grass, or I tend to come down a little bit too steep, and then I'm duffing shots. It's weird, but then when I'm warming up on grass, I feel like I can't strike it right, and then I get out on the course and I'm hitting it just fine. It's weird. Curious to hear what you guys experience. I think that'd be an interesting thing to kind of hear,
definitely,
get feedback from, and also just two amateur golf dads. What tricks could you share that would help us improve, our practice on a mat or on grass? Open to hearing.
Yes, I need it the most, dude. I need it the most. I mean, when it comes to the mats, I didn't have any issues with the mats, because one of the main driving ranges out here is mats, and they've got the lights out here and everything. And about 6 years ago, when I was working in golf shops and in the golf industry, I would go there, got free range balls and stuff like that, didn't have any issues. But when I restarted golf back in 2020 and the pandemic hit, there was nothing else to do except do something outside. And I'm not that much of an outdoorsy person, but the most I'll do is golf, and I was hitting off mats, and I was getting everything down, kind of feeling it out. It took me a little bit, but the first time I went to play around, I chunked every shot like you won't believe. Like, my wrists were snapping. I was like, this is terrible, because I was so used to no friction, nothing, no give on the mats, that it would just the iron would just bounce off of the mat, and no matter how hard I hit it, it would just bounce right off the mat. I hit a nice shot, and there was no tell that, hey, you're chunking. When you go out there, you're going to chunk. And I felt that. I had that my first hole, my first swing that I literally took on grass at that course. I went to the little par 3. I chunked it so bad, I hurt my wrist. I almost just went home. I was like, okay, this sucks. And then ever since then, man, I'm like, if I don't have to do the mats, give me a driving range. So I have another one across the street from my house that has grass, and I just love hitting off grass. I love having an idea of, I'm chunking it, or I'm sculling it. And I just can't do math. And ever since then, it's just been in my head ever since then, the last 2 years. I just can't do it.
No, I've been there too. I mean, it's gotten to a point now to where I focus more on putting than I do trying to figure out my swing before a round. And when I do practice, I like to go play with my wedges. I just like to go set up crappy shots, hit high flop shots on practice.
Okay, Phil.
No flop shots. I love burying shots into the hill and getting it to pop and check, and hopefully get it close, and then I try and put them out. That's really where the majority of my practice goes to, because I don't miss terribly off tee boxes. I don't miss terribly with my irons. So I just focus more on my scoring clubs, but I would be very, very appreciative to kind of hear what are some practice tools that you guys use. If it's more of alignment sticks, do you use the the shoe cleaner on your clubs to kind of see where you're impacting the ball on your irons? Do you like to use more of that sweeping mat that you put on grass, where you can see if your club face is open, if it's shut, if you're hitting it fat? I'm open to kind of hearing, what does everyone do? Because I think everyone's different, and you do have those people that are absolute range rats who will sit there and they peer balls off the range all day. You're talking 2-yard draw, 3-yard cut, all on the same line. Then all of a sudden you get them out on a golf course and they have no fucking clue what they're doing. I have a really good friend of mine who's a police officer and or sheriff, to be respectful, but he goes through the same thing. He's like, dude, I can't hit warm-up shots. I just need to get out there and putt and just do my thing. That's it. But I'll tell you this much. he plays the game great, but man, you put that guy within 15 feet of a hole. Oh yeah, if he misses, he's missing on the high edge by like not even a foot by. Or drained.
So yeah, that brings me to a question. If you had 15 minutes to get ready for your round, and you had golf balls if you needed to go on the range, what would you do with that 15 minutes at a golf course that you've never played before? You might have an idea by Googling it, but like, what would you do with that 15 minutes of time?
I'm actually happy you asked that. I did a tournament this year over at Hagen Oaks, where couldn't find the fucking place. I had to run out tire. So I had to wait, went to Pep Boys. Luckily I left early, got the tire fixed, get over there. I literally have 30 minutes before my tee time. And I spent the 30 minutes, I spent 15 minutes chipping, just hitting approach shots because they had a pretty cool little short game area, and I was hitting like 30-yard shots, just chipping. And then I went over to the putting green and just focused on putts, around 6 feet. That was about it, just to get a feel for the greens, what they were doing. I didn't play the best. The course definitely was a little bit more challenging than I kind of expected, looking at the website and kind of looking at my yardage book and everything like that. But I went 74, 72, 70, and I didn't even make top 10. Like it sucked, but hey, I wasn't mad with it. I had some putts that were downhill that were just quick, took off. Had a few bad shots off the tee that kind of caused me some penalties, but other than that, can't complain too much about how I played or anything like that. But if I have that much time, to answer a long-winded question, to answer that, I would probably spend most of my time either putting or hitting some chip shots.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like for me, same thing, dude. If I have 15 minutes, like not much time to really even get stuff out of the bag and do much. If there's a chipping area, I'll chip for a few minutes just to make sure that, I got that wedge game as locked in as possible. I don't have the craziest wedge game, but the last thing I feel like the place that you can gain and save as many shots as possible is within 50 yards, and then obviously on the green. Yeah. Because that's where a lot of issues come into play. And if you can make sure you can kind of get that routine down of getting some good chips out of the way within like 15 to 30 yards. And then I'd honestly probably have like 10 shots, just 10 shots, just get some wedges out of the way. Nothing crazy. And then go straight to that putting green. Because for me, if I can guarantee no 3 putts, that would save me. If I can just know the green speed, and for me, it's not even putting the ball in the hole when you're practicing. It's just trying to get that distance down, trying to get that speed down, trying to see, okay, how close can I get it to this hole without worrying that, I'm going to be flying at 7 or 8 feet past, giving me a tough putt coming back. Because I know in the past I've had some of those issues. I think it was like the first round that I played with you, first or second round at Fig Garden. And I think I had like 3 or 4 putts, or 3 or 4 3 putts. And my ball would just go, and I'd be that guy that's walking across the hole and then walking back across the hole. And it's just like, I was not used to the speed of the greens in the valley compared to where I am on the coast. But I think on that round, I literally walked up from my car to the first tee and had no idea what I was getting myself into. But it would just be monumental to practice with the greens. Otherwise,
I remember that round. You walked out. You're like, first driver, no warm up. You ripped that driver to about 40 yards of the green. You hit a chip shot.
Probably chunked the next one
past the hole. You hit a great chip shot that was about 6 feet past the hole, which was unfortunately right on the fringe or right on the cut of the back pin when we were playing on hole 1. And then you blasted it by, and you're like, how does that happen? And then but the good thing was you drained the longer putt coming uphill for the par. And then we go to that long par 5.
No way.
we go to that long par 5, and you're like, all right, let's see if we can do it again. You smoke a drive almost into the right side ravine that's over there. You have another like 70-yard shot into the par 4. Yeah, it was a par 4. And then you do the same thing. You hit a great chip shot. It just doesn't sit. It rolls to like the backside. You putt all the way to the fringe. And then the next one off the fringe, you putt it again and just left it short. And you're like, God, could you imagine if that fell? And I'm like, how the fuck did you like, how? I'm like, dude, your speed of your putts is like insane, but your comeback is like, it's whatever. And then you're just like, I think it's because I just don't care right now. I'm just trying to get close. And I was like, hey, it's working, man. But you actually put together a pretty good round until we made the turn. And then I think 10 just kind of fucked with your mind. And then that was about it. Like, other than that, you still had a really good time.
Dude, what a memory. All I remember is that first shot, and that's it. I remember I like blacked out, or it was like so long ago that literally I remember the great shot on it was a 3-wood. It was a 3-wood. I don't use my 3-wood, but I finally took it out.
That's right.
Hit it. And then all I remember is like kind of like images, like the putts just going by and me being like so surprised. But dang, dude, what a memory. I cannot remember that.
That was a fun.
I'm glad someone has a good recollection.
It was hot as hell out there too. Like,
mm-hmm.
trying to get you to drink a beer.
That was my first hot round, dude.
Yeah, you were like, I was trying to get you to drink a beer, and you're like, nah, man, I'm gonna just keep chugging water. I'm like, all right, that's fine. More for me. It wasn't until your blow up hole, which was the one that went along the water. I think that was number 12. Remember, it was the dog leg left that went alongside the water, and we were all like, how far do we need to draw this thing to get it by the green? And you pulled out that amazing 3-wood. You nuked it. We couldn't find your ball. We couldn't find it. You literally hit it middle of the fairway. We couldn't find it. You were like, dude, how does this happen? There's nothing on the left side. That ball was middle of the fairway. Where did it go? Finally, here comes the cart girl. And I was just like, all right, John, I think you need to be like, yeah, I'll take a beer. Like, I'll take a beer.
Dude, that is the story of my life. The amount of times, not just for me, but when I'm with someone in a round, that they'll hit a shot. Like I was with one of my boys, Johnny, and we were at Dragonfly, I think the first par 5. No, sorry, the second par 5, not the second hole, but it's like the 5th or 6th hole. And you can hit straight. It goes like kind of a slight dog leg right, and there's water on the left side.
Yeah. My
boy, Johnny, love the guy to death, but doesn't hit the ball far. Probably can hit like 150 yards on a good drive. Just not the best swing right now. He's figuring it out. He's new to golf, but he smokes it right down the middle, and we see the ball land. We literally we could see it from where we are, and it's like, okay, there it is. Cool. Okay, we know where your drive is. Let's go. I'll take my shot. I take my shot. We get in the cart. Cannot find the ball. Like, it's not even close by, like, squirrels or any animals or wildlife. Like, we literally could not find the ball. And it was like, I've been here, dude. I literally had that a year ago. Par 3 at Sherwood Forest. Hit it on the green.
That's a great
course. You can literally see the ball. It's not bad. I didn't realize what forest meant until I got there and saw how many dang trees there were. But it's a little tricky course for how short it is. It's not the easiest. But, yeah, so I'm on there, par 3, on the green. We see our ball with me, my buddy Dylan, and Daniel. And we drive both of them like shank it to the right. So we have to go to the right of it. And there's like all these trees. So we don't have a visual of the green. And then we finally find their balls. They hit out. We go left. And, dude, my ball is gone. It is gone. I'm like, who picks up a ball on a par 3 course? I mean, granted, there were a ton of trees, so it could have been a squirrel. But, I mean, like, it's on the green. Like, it's not like on the fairway where someone backs up, like, oh, this might be my ball. Like, it's on the green. You're not even on the same hole that we're on. Who would take a golf ball? But the amount of times that's happened just blows me away. I'm like, how does this happen? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, that was like the last time that we played when we went to Rancho Solano. We're on number 9 with that sharp dog leg left. I told you just aim at the bunker. You hit a great shot. You hit it right where I told you to. We thought you reached the bunker, right? We're looking up and down the fairway, can't find it. We're like, dude, it was middle of the fairway. Like, we saw it bounce. Even the people that we were playing with were like, we saw your ball roll. Like, it was right here. We couldn't find it. You're like, dude, that was like a brand new Pro V1 or whatever.
That's like $4, bro. That's like a gallon of gas or a half a gallon of gas. Like nowadays, like my goodness. But
I just remember that too. You're like, God, this happens too often. I hate this. I was like, well, don't worry, man. The next hole is the same it's the same exact shot. So hit that same shot. Hopefully this one stays in the fairway. And you're like, yeah.
Dude, like how much money do you think they have to pay people to like, because a lot of courses, they have a hole going one way and a hole going the other way, right? So like you could have someone, literally a patron, sit in the middle, like just watching your shots and be like, hey, it's over there, or hey, it's way over there. Someone to at least cover you. Or I saw this thing and it was like,
I don't even think that they would want to pay somebody, which is why even on the PGA Tour, everyone who does that is a volunteer.
It's voluntary, right?
You get some sweet tournament swag that says staff on it, and on top of that, like 50% off a pro shop, and then they give you like these. What are they? When my dad and I went to the U.S. Open, they gave everyone these. I think they're called like cathedral coins or something like that, like the governor coins, something like that.
Okay.
That's like their limited edition. So they give you enough stuff to where it's like, hey, even though we're not paying you and we're giving you essentially 75% off of food, 50% off of merch, if you wanted to, and 2 free guest passes for people that you want each day, like there's a reason why why they're not being paid. Like if you're at a professional level, you should be touching at least 80% of the fairways. Okay. At an amateur level, there's no way in hell. They're going to be like, hey, bro,
you might.
You look like the guy who needs to sit between 6 and 9 and tell people where their ball went. Like, if I did that job,
and then imagine them
stoned out of my mind every single day at work doing that. I'd be like,
you better have your head on a swivel. You better have your head on a swivel, dude. You might, or at least a good insurance policy.
I'm finding a good tree to hide behind where I know like I'm not going to get hit, and even if I do, I'm gonna be like, wow, dude, that must have been a really bad shot if you found me. I'm giving that person all the smoke.
Yeah, no, you're putting that ball in your pocket and saying, I don't know, dude. I don't know where that ball went. It didn't go past here.
I didn't feel anything.
Yeah, sir, you have a lump on your forehead. No, dude, that was the other guy. It was the other hole.
Kid, that was there.
Yeah. You making fun of my mom's dropping me on that? Was a baby, man? Come on, man. Don't be like that. But yeah, so good golf start right there. But I mean, World Cup is now. By the time that this episode comes out, which will be probably tomorrow morning or tonight, we will still have the championship game for the World Cup. One, have you been watching the World Cup at all? I know it's during the day, so like working from home, I know I have it on in the background, and with my son waking up early in the morning at 7 a.m., there had been nothing else to do but, at least have the game on and just watch.
So I watched, my wife is from Brazil, so the only games that I've really watched have been the Brazil games. I did watch a few of the, I watched the Korea and was it Korea? Yeah, no.
Yeah, the South Korea.
South Korea versus U.S. when the game didn't mean it. Or no, England. I watched that one, and then when they lost.
No, it wasn't. Oh wait. Oh, it must have been the playoffs then. If that was the.
It was still in
the knockout round.
Qualifying. It was still like in the knockout. So basically,
then it wasn't them. It wasn't then. It wasn't then. It was because in our group it was England, USA, Iran, and Wales. So they wouldn't. It must have been South Korea, and maybe like Spain, South Korea. I know they played a few. They had like an upset against somebody, I thought.
Yeah, but either way, it's like I've watched a little bit, but the one games that I did try and catch, which unfortunately I wasn't able to see, him, was the Portugal games. I'm not a big soccer guy, but I do know Ronaldo. I know Messi. I know Neymar. Those are the 3 big names that I know. But I I felt pretty bad when I heard that Ronaldo was eliminated. The guy's done so much for the sport. Probably one of the greatest soccer players of all time, in this generation. And to know that he still doesn't have a World Cup under his belt is just like, ugh. It's that one niche that you need to be to further solidify yourself as like the GOAT,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, watching the World Cup this year, I'm somewhat big into soccer. Nothing crazy. Manchester United supporter. I got into playing. I've never played soccer in my life. Maybe like one time at recess, or maybe like PE and stuff like that, but never like as an actual sport. I got into FIFA. I used to host exchange students every year at my house, and I played video games. But not many people that would come over, especially guys around my age, would know how to play MLB The Show or Madden. Or maybe even maybe NBA, but it still wasn't as big back then in Europe as it is now. But they all knew FIFA, and FIFA is a pretty addictive game to play if you really get into it. And so I got FIFA, and I would play with them, and obviously it would help make them kind of feel at home a little bit by playing FIFA and playing a game that they understand. And that's how I got into it. And yeah, dude, Ronaldo Messi conversation. I definitely would probably pick Ronaldo just because of his size and his speed, but Messi, it's like that Jordan LeBron conversation, which one's better? It's like, it doesn't matter who you pick. You're going to have a GOAT with you. Like they're both like up there. And Messi, his whole life, man, not like he's won everything with the clubs, right? Barcelona, now he's with PSG. But with his country, he has struggled mightily with helping his country get to either a World Cup title or just like a CONCACAF title, which is like the North America versus South American teams. He has struggled. He has missed he's missed clutch penalties. He's missed open shots for whatever. It's just gotten on him so hard for whatever reason. That's just like the one thing that, besides Ronaldo, and Ronaldo's done decent, in the World Cup games. Messi has just always consistently struggled with them. At least not to the peak that he is for the club level. But now with him in the championship game versus France, I wouldn't be upset with whoever wins, France or Argentina. But that would pretty much solidify Messi winning almost everything if he gets that World Cup title. And
yeah, I think that'd be exciting to watch. I think that would be a great game. I mean, for me, it'd be nice. It would be nice to see Latin America, continue to win. Like, it's awesome,
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy in general, just how much, if you think about like sports in general, it's a grind. No matter what sport you play, like baseball, 162 games, like 180 days, and then, football, you have like 17 weeks plus the preseason. And then obviously playoffs if you get there. And same with baseball. NBA, 82 games and I don't know, maybe 100 days. It's just crazy. But when it comes to soccer, besides hockey, which I think is probably one of the most grueling sports, soccer is the most strenuous on your body because of how much competition there is out there, in the sense that you have your team that you play for, you have your country that you play for. And with your team, you're playing, maybe September to like March or May for the season. And within that, you have another tournament of like the Champions League or Europa League or whatever in between that season. And then also throughout that season, you have your playing for your country. Like now, like they're not like a lot of people that are playing in the World Cup, they don't get a break. They have to play for their country right now, when other players are getting a break, or getting some rest or being able to recover. And you're constantly doing all these tournaments throughout the year and if you don't do it, like if you're a Messi, you don't play for Argentina, and you want just a vacation with your family, like the amount of ridicule that you would get from your country for not, doing it for your country. It's just insane to me how much that they're required or expected to put their body. Yeah, they make millions of dollars, but still, like, they're human. It's just insane.
Yep. I agree, man. I mean, it's like every sport, dude. Like I mean, look at LeBron James. LeBron James every year it seems like he doesn't lose a step, he gains a step. The guy spends. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was ESPN. ESPN came out and said he spends like, oh boy, what was the number? Something like $2.5 million a year just on recovery and fitness, like care for his body, like keeping him at the peak. 2.5 million. It's like, that's insane.
Freaking nuts, dude.
Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
my gym membership costs $150 a month. I feel more like a fat ass for not going and just basically having that money be wasted. Hearing like he spends $2.5 million a year just on keeping himself in shape. And I'm like, bro, I literally can go whenever I want. I have nobody yelling at me saying you need to get in the gym. You know, it's just me. And it beats me up that like I don't go enough. You know, and we've talked about this too, about how like being college athletes, like the level of discipline you had to have, going to sleep at like 12 a.m. because you're trying to finish a term paper, you're trying to get all your shit done after practices, waking up at 5 a.m., getting into the gym, having your team breakfast, do your stuff, go to class for another 2 hours, then get back onto the field and do either your plyometrics, do your core work, do your throwing. Then you go back to class, and then you have to go at 3 o'clock to practice. You're out there for 2 hours. Then you have another 2 classes. Then you're getting back to your dorm at 7. It's like, it's insane, you know? And I mean,
the grind.
The thing is that like, to have that level of discipline, knowing that like, and here's the big difference for you and I in college. This was like to keep our positions. This was to fight for, you know, I want playing time. I want to be on that travel team. I want to be the guy on the mound on Friday night when we play, or Wednesday afternoon when we play, or even on the weekend. LeBron James now, like, he's grinded his whole life to get to this point. He is in the conversations as one of the greatest of all time, you know? And, you know, my greatest of all time is Jordan, right? I hands down think Jordan is the guy. I have nothing but respect for LeBron James. He's played the game the way that it's supposed to be played, aside from all the flops and everything that he does. But, you know, the guy gives 110%. He puts everything on his shoulders. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, he's a team hopper. He does this, he does that. But hey, man, like, think of that. Think of him jumping from team to team in like a way of like you working an actual job, right? You stay at your job for 2 years, you acquire some skills, you go to a better job because that one's going to pay you more, knowing that like they offer more for you and that you have a better potential to essentially grow your career. He's doing the same thing. He did the same exact thing as like what you and I do every day, you know, to try and basically get more money, to be more recognized within our companies. Like, you don't just stay at one place for your entire career. And guys who do it and have tons of success, like, you just have to tip your hat and respect them. But for someone like him, he knew what he had to do. The guy just went out and did it. You know, you're not going to find a guy like Steph. You're not going to find a guy like Steph who completely changes not just the game and the way it's played, but also just the dynamics of how to score. You know, being a triple threat, from being able to move the ball within the key, then to dish it out, and then also to have the release and the confidence he does from shooting from the distances he does. It's insane.
Well, I mean, not just that, but you also when you compare like Steph Curry and LeBron James was Cleveland basketball. They literally had no one else. Like, you look at like the playoff rosters that they made when LeBron was there the first stint, and you would not know anyone else unless you were a Cleveland fan. Like Steph Curry, they drafted well. They had Klay Thompson, one of the best 3-point shooters besides, you know, Steph, and Draymond. You know, that 3 core right there, you don't have to go anywhere. You've played together a lot. You got that chemistry down, and you're and in a way, he's blessed for being in that spot compared to LeBron, where it's like the downside of turning a team around as fast as he did is you get terrible draft picks. And in the NBA, if you don't get that lottery number 1 or number 2 pick overall, like, yeah, of course, you'll find players here and there like that are drafted 10th, 13th, 14th, maybe 20th, like anywhere else. But it's a lot more rare in the NBA for those picks than it is anywhere else. And if you're in the playoffs, you're in the 20s and 30s, or if that, around the mid 20s or whatever. And that just sets you up for failure unless you can attract somebody else to Cleveland, which back then wasn't a thing. He wasn't able to do that. And Steph, yeah, of course, he changed the way of basketball. No one's shot the way he has. But with LeBron, just imagine if he had 2 other, I would say Clay and Draymond are going to be Hall of Famers one day. You have 2 other Hall of Famers on that team that played with you your whole stint. How long has he been there? Like 7, 8, 9 years now? It's kind of getting up there now.
It is. Yeah. Shit, that's a great question. I'd have to say somewhere around 7. I think 7.
Yeah.
And to have,
maybe more, dude.
He has 4 championships? Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's more than that, dude. 2013, I went to a Cavs Golden State Warriors game. I was in Cleveland visiting my grandparents. It was my grandparents' 65th wedding anniversary. All of our family was meeting out there. And Harrison Barnes was playing back then. That's when I think the first or second year that they drafted him.
Right. Okay.
And
he's been there.
My cousins. Yeah, he's been there for at least a decade, or close to it. But the crazy thing was, my cousins all went to school with Harrison Barnes. They grew up with him. They're all in Iowa. He grew up and went to their high school and all that stuff. So they're like, hey, let's go see Harrison play. And I'm like, if I get a free ticket, I'm down. And I did. But it was cool to watch. It was a fun game. Just watching Steph Curry with, his practice before the game, or his warm-ups, they were insane, dude. And he wasn't even the star that he was then. Just the release. And then Klay Thompson, that was when they first started. I remember my cousin's like, oh yeah, these guys are they're known as the Splash Brothers. I was like, never heard of that. Cool. Okay. And the Cavs, I think they had Kyrie back then, when Kyrie was a rookie or right around that time too. And it was a fun game to go to. We were sat right underneath the hoop, or right in that, where you can see him when the free throws. Yeah. And it was a fun experience, but I remember that. So that was just in December in 2013. And so, yeah, he's been there for at least 9 years. And I don't think that was his rookie year. It is crazy. And
next year, if that was 2013, next year will be 10 years.
That's crazy, man. And I remember, I think when he got drafted, the issue with him was they weren't sure if his ankles would hold up. And I know they struggled, I guess, in the first couple of years, but ever since then, man, he's been rock solid injury wise. At least for me, hearing how successful he's been in 4 titles, dude, that's nuts.
Yep. Yeah, man. Well, I know we're getting close to closing this out, but I know we didn't get to talk about the PNC this weekend. My money personally is always going to be on Tiger and Charlie. I think they're gonna upset some people. But we also didn't get to talk about the match, which also, you got Justin Thomas and his dad, who will be playing in that as well. And the fan favorites, you got the Dailies, so I think Tiger's going to want to try and get some revenge on Thomas because of the match. All the shit he was talking.
Oh man.
Hey,
I still need to watch that. I still need to watch it.
Yeah. Like I said, I saw a few clips, there's some good shots. I mean, for Tiger saying that, it's not that he can't play, it's the walking part. It's a very true statement. I mean, the guy looked good. He was smashing the ball for some of the numbers that were coming off of his driver. I think he was hitting the ball about 185 off the face with that stealth driver. It's pretty good, man. And then, obviously he's never struggled with the short game, but just he looked great. He looked like he was moving around just fine.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how much the walk really plays a toll in the golf game. Even if you're not holding your bag, it just.
Well, he was talking about how he loses when Tiger was really at the peak of his competing. he was talking about how he was losing like it was just in a recent interview. I think he said he was losing like 5 to 7 pounds a round.
Yes, I heard that.
They were asking about his like favorite snack, and he was like bananas, peanut butter, and jelly, like water. And then they were like, really, such a simple like snack. And he goes, I need energy. He's like, I'm walking these courses, and he's like, I'm losing 5 to 7 pounds a round, and yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that. Like you're talking, throughout a 4 days of golf, that's 28 pounds in 4 days. If he's losing 7, right? Like that's 4 times 7 is 28. That's, that's a.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's an average, but with how hot some of the tournaments get, and you wear pants, it just makes it so difficult. Because I know one of my buddies, rest in peace, he played back in Mississippi growing up, and he would say, as a catcher, playing in the summer down in the South, you lose like 3 to 5 pounds, and as a kid, that's like a quarter of your body weight. Like that's a lot of freaking poundage. But it totally makes sense with how hot some of these tourneys are. But I was watching the match, and one of the things I did see, which I thought was hilarious, was the whole back and forth. With Justin Thomas talking crap to Tiger and all this. Justin Thomas was lining up for a shot with his 3-wood. And for the match, they all had golf carts. They're all just, driving the golf carts. And Tiger, probably about like 10 seconds before he was going to take a shot, just turns on the reverse during the whole swing. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, dude, that is hilarious. Like, not even like, like messing around, just.
Yeah, I saw that on TikTok also. I thought that was pretty funny.
I was like, that's hilarious. But I know some of the shots, it was just cool. I would love night golf. I would love to do it. I know they have it at that local par 3 out here, but I don't want to play there, dude. Yeah. Well, now it's about now it's Valley Center Golf, but yes, that's the place.
Okay.
But getting around it, I think they have them in like what, Saudi Arabia or whatever, or the Middle East, should I say? They have them more popular out there. But like in Fresno, when it's hot outside, why the heck could they not just put up some lights? I'm sure you would get so many people that are interested in that, getting away from the heat, and it's still being warm, but not like too crazy. And, having a good time with friends. I think that obviously, you're probably going to spend a pretty penny with the lights, and that's probably why they don't do it.
Start a night league. At least that way,
right?
You have guaranteed tee times that are consistent on 1 week out of the, or one day.
1 day out of the. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I agree.
If you're doing 3, if you're doing 3 of them, you do one Monday night for ladies, you do one Wednesday night for kids, and then you do one Friday night with a skins game for guys. Like,
it'd be such an easy thing because especially if one course does it, they're the only one they own. They're a monopoly on that night golf.
You got to think all the other golf courses in Fresno or in the Central Valley, there's houses around them, so you have to have the lights shut off at a certain time because the neighbors start to complain, right? Where that place is out in the middle of nowhere. The only thing that's above them is the Valley Children's Hospital, and that's it.
Well, yeah, you got Dragonfly. There's no houses at Dragonfly. There's no houses at Madera Municipal. There's houses, Riverside and some other courses. But there are some courses that there shouldn't be. There's no, like, camping area out there either, So, why not? But, yeah, dude, I think that would be.
You become the commissioner of it, man. Start a league. Tell them, like, hey, if I can get 100 dudes, like, can we do it here? Maybe they would. Who knows? Put up some capitals.
That'd be epic.
We'll get the foot or the security lights that they put out at Walmart all the time to put them out on the course that just show on the green.
I think that's what they did. I think that's what they did in the match. They looked like not crazy amazing lights, not anything crazy like you have at a stadium. Yeah. But heck yeah, man, that'd be a lot of fun. You got to play with glow golf balls.
Yeah.
And you might have to carry a firearm depending on where you are because of the wildlife and the coyotes and stuff coming out. You never know.
That's a very valid point.
Wolves, run!
Yeah, exactly.
The golf cart only goes 15 miles an hour. Go!
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was great hanging out with you last week, and we still need to go do a round, in this upcoming year. I think that is very overdue. So
oh yeah,
I'm playing that, and yeah, I'll let you go ahead and let you
January 2nd, me and you, put it on your calendar if you haven't already. We're going to play Dragonfly. We're going to go front 9, ladies tees. The lowest we're going to do, it's both going to be a scramble on both parts. We're going to do ladies tees on the first to see how low we can go on as close, or the far up tees, or whatever you want to call them. And then on the back,
we might as well just do the back tees, and we take best drive, and then we just play it out from there. We'll still do a scramble, but I don't see what the point is in playing the forward tees, because one, we could drive a few greens, but ultimately I think we should just do a scramble from the back tees and just film the whole thing. I think that'd be sick.
But for 18 holes,
let's do it.
That'd be the longest video ever. Be at least an hour video. I mean, I could definitely try to do it. And I'm saying January 2nd because my GoPro in the cold definitely can hold up compared to in the summer. And I got that Monday off, and I told my wife already, hey, I'm going to be golfing, whether it's with Julio or somebody else. I'm going golfing. I'm planning Julio. I'm planning Don Julio's going to be there, and we're going to be going to Dragonfly. But I will be golfing on that day. And yeah, we need to do the way back tees. We need to make a video on that so people can actually see our swings.
I'm down.
And heck, dude, you could stay here. I live across the street. I have a house.
I'll do my best. You just got to remember, I'll have a 3-month-old at that, or yeah, a 3-month-old at that point. Yep. So still requires a lot of attention. So I'll do my best. My boy just started crawling last week, dude. So it is, enjoy them while they're immobile. Let me just tell you, when they need your help, because once they don't, it's hard to turn away for a couple seconds. Be like, hey, are you going to be there when I come back? Are you still going to be on the couch, or are you going to be like falling crying? Yeah.
You really got to keep an eye on them. But yeah, dude, January 2nd, let's plan for that for sure. And yeah, I mean, thank you guys so much for watching so far this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy listening to our takes. Hopefully, if you haven't already, check out our Instagram. I should have some of the questions that Julio and I had asked throughout the podcast on there for you guys to let us know your thoughts and what you guys do. I think one of them was what you guys do on the course, what kind of sticks you guys use, what kind of alignment sticks or things like that you guys use on the driving range. And what was the other one that you mentioned?
Just I pretty much was just asking what are some tips that you guys have to be more effective of hitting on
off the mats,
but also,
right?
What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer turf or do you prefer grass?
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. Well, if you haven't already, make sure to check us out on Instagram or Twitter at Fore Dads Pod, YouTube as well at Fore Dads Pod. That's where all the episodes will be dropped. Obviously, besides Spotify and I think Apple Podcasts and others. But thank you guys for watching another episode of Fore Dads Pod. We will see you next week. Take care.
See you later.